best dressed man in wrestling right here. Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. It ain't no doubt. It ain't no doubt. Flair, bring that old cashmere coat out here. Gee, I love.
Can't help it that I'm custom made. I can't help it that I look good, smell good, can dance all night long.
Welcome to Midday Sports with Rod Uncensored and Chris Dietz of Fifth Down Sports. We're gonna unpack this crazy sports weekend. How you doing today, Dietz?
I'm doing all right. I'm still trying to recover from last night, but
What are we recovering from? Just people want to know.
Just the utter disgrace that was WrestleMania night 2.
Oh, okay.
Night 1 was so good, and night 2 was so bad. And just that we'll get into it. I don't want to get into it, but just the way it ended was just so stupid, and I was like, this. I went to bed. I was like, this was awful. So we'll get into that when we talk about that. But other than that, everything's good, man.
Well, you know what I mean? I love, you know what I mean? I hate to say this, though, Dietz. I know this is controversial, but that game, that women's NCAA championship game was really great. I think the LSU versus Iowa. Like, I was excited. I watched it with the wife. I was like, man, this, like, the women game changed over the years. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the game has changed.
I think the NCAA, the women's game is definitely good, but they definitely lost out when they didn't have UConn, when they didn't have South Carolina, when South Carolina went out. That's when the NCAA was like, all right, well, whatever. Because they wanted South Carolina, UConn. They wanted South Carolina. They wanted Dawn Staley. They wanted Gino. They wanted all of that, and they got none of it. And then they had to manufacture it. And that girl from Iowa. That girl from Iowa was on a tear. And
yeah, I gotta say this. I gotta give her props because I'm sorry to say this, Dietz. I know this is crazy to say. The ball handling skills of these women nowadays compared to the early 90s, early 2000s, oh my God.
Oh, yeah. And
like snatch back, step back, wet jumpers. Like, that game was a hell of a game.
But it's still miles away from where it needs to be. It's a lot better, but it's the women's game is still. I really think they need to lower the hoop.
Also for the dunking aspect?
No, not even for dunking. Just for shooting. Their shots are not. You watch them shoot; it's so slow.
You say the wrist is not strong enough to hit off the tip?
I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is about it. The shot, you just watch them shoot a three. Watch girls shoot a three. It's not as strong. The ball. It goes at such an arc, and I think it's because I think it's because they have to put so much into it. That the ball it's weird. It's a weird thing to see, but you don't see the action. The ball when somebody shoots a three, the game kind of stops, and you kind of just are like, all right, let's wait for that to come down, and then the ball doesn't really come off the rim the same way. Even on a miss, the ball doesn't come off the rim the same way. It just doesn't. And you'll see. I mean, watch that game watch the women's championship game to the game that's going to happen tonight, and watch the difference between men's and women's basketball, and you'll see it.
I'm telling you,
you'll see the pace of play. I'm not talking about their skills or whatever. I'm just talking about the pace of play.
Oh yeah, they can't keep that. They can't keep that up.
It's so much slower at the girls' level. It's so much slower. And again, I don't know what that is, and I don't even care that there's no dunk. Like, no dunking is not the problem. The problem is the pace of play. And the ball just it just doesn't come off the rim as hard, and it doesn't flow as fast. And you'll see that tonight as UConn Huskies. I mean, Jesus Christ! The last 3 games they've beaten everybody by 20 points.
But you know what I mean? We still got to play the game. You know what I mean? San Diego State looking really good. You know what I mean? I'm really interested to see how the game goes, man, because I'm not counting nobody out in March Madness, especially with these refs. Especially with these refs.
You can't count anybody. You can't count anybody out. But right now, I mean, I don't see how they're going to contend with those 3 big guys inside.
Nah, you know what I mean? That girl, what's her name? Zano. Yo, she was bullying them girls.
Mm-hmm.
It was looking like Bill Laimbeer, like she could have been Bill Laimbeer's a granddaughter or something. She was just bullying them girls down there and nasty. Like I don't mind. I didn't mind the girls getting chippy. I know it was a big thing. Oh man, I like them trash talk. I love it. I love it.
I love it. Yeah, that a lot of that comes from this old school. Oh, you can't trash talk. Like, trash talking is part of basketball. That's been part of basketball forever. Women's basketball always used to pride themselves. We don't do that. We pick each other up. No, trash talking is part of the game. Like that. That's an art form. And you have to be good at it, and you have to be able to rise above it. So,
and last thing, Caitlin, I forgot her last name, Caitlin, whatever her name was. Not to be disrespectful, what was her name? Beats Caitlin from Iowa, the guard.
Oh, yeah. I don't even remember. I was just reading an article on her.
Clark, Caitlin Clark. I mean.
That's what she set like a record, most points in an NCAA tournament or something.
Yeah, I mean, if she has a decent squad, I'm just gonna be real, Deeks. It was glaring deficiencies on Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was helping her out. You know what I mean? It was a lot of glass and a lot of bricks.
No, that's usually that's usually how women's basketball is. It's one or two players, and if you have one or two players, you're usually better than the other. That's why UConn has been so dominant, and that's why UConn has not been as dominant lately, because the talent pool is spreading out.
But I mean, it was definitely, like, again, the speed of LSU and Monk. I love Coach Monkey because she gets in the girls. She got like that Pat Summit shit, you know what I mean, of leadership as coach. She gets in the girls, man, get back on fucking defense. I love that. I love it. This the feistiness of her as a coach, and that team. The team was just speed of that team, the LSU team, on both sides of the court was too much for Iowa. Can we say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like watching Golden State go against Hartford Community, you know what I mean? What school you went to? What school you said that?
I went to Spring. I went to a Division III school, but it was like watching. It was like watching Fairfield play against UConn.
Oh my God! It was just the speed difference. It was hard, and especially if you break the three, you gotta get second. You gotta get the rebound. You get second point chances. And they was not able to do that.
No, you're not doing that against the girl that they had inside.
It wasn't boxing out. It was not boxing out for rebounds, and that was the death of them. They was getting second chance points just easily. I think Reese had maybe 13 rebounds easily. I counted, and the guard play of Morris and the other guard. Oh my God! I mean, she was snatching back. I mean. Floaters. I mean, she was looking like a Kyrie Irving. out there with you know what I mean, dread, you know what I mean, with braids. It was looking like Joanna Man. You know what I mean? I hate to sorry to say it like that, but it was epic, man. I just think the speed was the death of that team.
Absolutely, and it absolutely was.
And you know what I mean? For this, I'm sorry, Deeks. I'm sorry. For Ike, I appreciate the view and you know what I mean, you taking the time out for the comment. I appreciate it. I guess I'm a hook booger. I appreciate that.
I don't know what that is, but sure.
But man, let's move along, man. What's your prediction for your UConn Huskies, man, tonight?
I fully think they're gonna win tonight. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything that says. I mean, they've gotten better and better each round, and right now, I don't see San Diego. You know, the thing that scares me about UConn is I was scared of Gonzaga because they could shoot from the outside. I haven't seen that from San Diego State. That's the only thing that can keep, because they're not going to win the game down low. UConn with the three towers that they have down low, San Diego State's not going to be able to dominate inside. They're going to have to hit from the outside, and that's the one thing UConn doesn't really do well is shoot from the outside. So if San Diego State can get hot from behind the arc, then they might have a chance. But the other thing that they have to do is San Diego State has got to come out early.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we've seen from this UConn team, and especially in the first two rounds of the tournament, we saw them. You know, they were down. They were losing by one at halftime in round one. Come out second half, and they end up blowing them out by 15. Second round, they're losing by one. Come out in the second half, blow them out by 20. And then, they go to the Sweet 16. Arkansas, they demolished Arkansas by 18, and they were up the whole time. You know, the next game against Gonzaga, they fell behind, and the second half, UConn pulled away. Again, against Miami, UConn had a 5-point lead at halftime. They end up winning the game by 20. So, the second half is where UConn's going to come back. So, San Diego State has got to jump. They got to jump early, and they got to keep their foot on the throat. But the way UConn is playing right now, I don't see any way that they could stop them.
Like it's definitely going to be a tough. Again, it's going to come to second point opportunities and boxing out. You know what I mean? That's the key for a lot of these games.
With Sanogo down low, with the 7-footer that UConn has coming off the bench, second chance points ain't coming from San Diego State. I mean, you're not gonna clean the boards on that, and that's going to be the key. And of course, as I say, the key to UConn is going to be Hawkins and Jackson. Can Hawkins and Jackson get going and put up points? And can they get Sanogo the ball down low? Because he seems to be able to do that. But it's like I said last week on this program, UConn doesn't have that one guy. They don't have that, oh, this guy's an NBA talent, let's just keep feeding him the ball. They have 8 different players that all play pretty much the same way.
Mm-hmm. So
it's like, if one guy's not feeling it, all right, we can go to these other guys. In the past, or when you look at other teams that have gotten this far into the tournament, there's usually that one guy that you're like, all right, this guy is the guy that we need to stop, or this is the guy that's going to drive the team. UConn doesn't have that. They have all different guys. So how Danny Hurley manages that is going to be amazing. And to have Danny on the sidelines, to have Bobby behind, Bobby sitting behind the bench, to have his father behind the bench, like That's a lot of basketball right there. That's a lot of basketball knowledge that can get passed on. If Danny's not catching something, I'm sure his father and his brother are right there to be like, "Yo, did you see this? You might want to tell him to do this."
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the case, man. I see a high scoring game though. I don't think it's going to be a low scoring game at all.
I think it's going to be just like the other one. I think it's going to be somewhere in the 79, 59, somewhere in that range. Because I just don't see how San Diego State's going to score. The only way San Diego State makes it high scoring is if they're hitting threes, because they're not going to get it inside.
Man, and let's move along to Major League Baseball, man. I hear a lot of y'all old heads talk about the pitch clock. But you know what I noticed though, Deets? I looked up. I'm just typing out, doing my my stuff for the show and get ready for the week. I watched the Sunday game, the Orioles versus Boston Red Sox. I looked up. I said, "Damn, it's the ninth inning already." How quick the game go by? With that pitch clock and the game, it's like the game goes by quicker. What's your thoughts about that?
I think the game. I don't know if it's going by. We'll see what the numbers say. I mean, I know I watched all the games on opening day, and they were pretty much 2.5 hours. I think the Yankee game was 2 hours 33 minutes. The Sox Orioles game took a little bit longer because the ninth inning was a disaster.
Please. Oh my God.
Wait, y'all survived, but the ninth inning got a little dicey there.
I gotta pay homage now. I gotta use the famous words of Cole Johnson. That the bullpen looking like trash. Right now.
It's the bullpen. I look up at the score. I'm like, oh, it's 10-4. All of a sudden, I'm watching the start of the Mets game. All of a sudden, I look up and I get my buddy at the bar. He had bet on the game, and he was like, he's like, I bet on it being a close game, and I was like, well, I think you're done because it's 10-4 going into the ninth inning. All of a sudden, I look over and I'm like, hey, Kenny, it's 10-9. And he's like, what? And we're just watching it, But as far as the pitch clock, I think a lot of hoopla was made about it. I think the way it's been implemented has been okay. I just don't like taking it out of the players' hands and out of everybody's hand. I don't like the arbitrary movements of it. I think what they've really done is they've gotten in and out of breaks quicker, and that's been the real thing. But you're also, it's too early to judge how this is playing out for people, but. I'm seeing batters that are not ready for pitches. I'm seeing a lot of pitchers rushing to get the ball to the plate. Like, you don't need that for baseball. Like, I want to see the game played at its top level. I don't want to see. I don't like the fact that everybody's like rushing around and having to do all this, and also you're not seeing. I think I saw like one pickoff attempt over the weekend. Of all the games, I think I saw one person throw over to first base. Like, I didn't see anybody try to throw over to first base. I didn't see anybody trying to run it. So in that way, like, the game has been really just, all right, pitch the ball and see if you can hit it. And there's really no strategy anymore. It's kind of just, all right, go.
Yeah, maybe I like it. I like even the system with the catcher with the pitcher where you can just tell them what kind of pitch. I'm liking that. So nobody can complain about nobody getting their signal stolen because it's by that what you call this that calling system on the catcher's hand.
Yeah, that. Like I said, so all of these things we're one weekend into the baseball season.
What you're liking about your Mets right now, man?
The Mets are 3-1. I like the fact the Mets are hitting right now. I mean,
that's big.
Because that was always the question, was, are they going to be able to hit? And we know, I mean, we know what we're going to get from Scherzer. We know what we're going to get from Justin Verlander. So the pitching is going to be there. It's the question was always, can they hit? And so far they are. I like Brandon Nimmo at the top of the order. I just like the way he plays. I like the way he comments on the game. I like his approach. His approach to the game is it was fun to watch, to see him get interviewed after the game and talking about this guy played 6 spring training games, comes out and has 3 hits opening day. Like,
I like that. I like that. That ass whooping the Rangers gave the Phillies. I love it. Yeah.
I like the fact that the Phillies beat up Jacob deGrom and they still lost the game.
Hey, my wife was quiet that night.
I look up and I'm like, oh, great, deGrom is pitching. All right, well, I was like, well, the Phillies aren't going to score any runs, and all of a sudden you look up and the Phillies are up 5-0 early, and I'm like, all right, well, yeah. Good for that. And then all of a sudden my buddy's like, the Rangers are winning that game. And I was like, wait, what? How does that work? So,
but let's tap into that WrestleMania, man. There's a couple things I loved. And I just want to give you a couple that I loved. I love seeing Rey Mysterio back in the ring, doing a little bit of high flying shit. I loved it. John Cena, he didn't even shave his head. You know what I mean? I seen that ball spot. But the match was awesome. I liked the Logan Paul and KSI fighting. I forgot who he was going against.
It fought Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins. That was a good match. It was entertaining to me. And there's a couple other things. I liked the Montez match. It was a couple entertaining things. But give me your thoughts and opinion on WrestleMania 49.
The first night was
epic.
The first night was great. The first night was great. You had great performers. You had great performances. As I told you, it was predictable. It was a little bit predictable.
So how would you change it? How would you change the storyline for the second day?
The second night?
Yeah, the second night.
I mean, the feeling was electric when Cody Rhodes came out.
Oh yeah,
you knew, and everybody was expecting it. Everybody was expecting, all right, Cody Rhodes is going to come out, and they were expecting shenanigans but you expected Cody Rhodes to overcome that, and then to have it end with Roman Reigns still having both titles, still being where he is, it was such a letdown of, all right, well, because this was supposed to be the moment. And, we talked a month ago with Kentucky guy. We talked about who's going to take the title from Reigns. Who can take the title from Reigns? Well, the guy who was supposed to do it was Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
If there was any moment to do it, it would be ending WrestleMania on a Cody Rhodes, the Rhodes family. I mean, you saw the start to this show with Dusty. Like, that's a WrestleMania moment. That's a moment people will remember. See, that's the thing about WrestleMania that's changed. The way WWE now does WrestleMania is not an event anymore. It's the end of, whatever they're trying to do, whatever, it's kind of like, oh, this is our this is the end of our season. And then, the next night we'll start the next night building towards the next WrestleMania. That's kind of how WWE has done it the last couple years. Instead of WrestleMania just being an event and being an actual Like being able to just take it as it is. You're taking it as the whole year conglomerated into one. That's why you saw, Bianca Belair hold on to her title. That's why you saw Roman with Roman Reigns keeping his title. Who's going to take the title? Who's going to take the title from Reigns? That's gonna make you go, yeah, that makes sense. Nobody. There's nobody on the roster right now, unless they got somebody waiting in the wings. There's nobody on the roster right now that hasn't faced Roman. Like, if someone else is able to take it, you're gonna go, well, why didn't this happen? Why didn't this happen before? What is going on here? So that's why a WrestleMania moment, it would have ended so well if Cody Rhodes got the title. If you wanted to put it back on Reigns, if you wanted Reigns to take it back on Raw the next night, he could have done that. But to end WrestleMania on such a down note, you saw it in the arena. The entire arena was like, it went from electric when Rhodes came out to at the end, everybody was kind of just like, all right, well, here we go again. And that was the big letdown. But as far as the rest of it, I thought they put. I don't know. I don't know what they can do, because when you split it into days like this, you always have this. It's either Saturday is really good and Sunday's a letdown, or Saturday's a letdown and Sunday is really good. Every single time they can't seem to get the cards to match up to where Saturday is, Saturday's good and Sunday's even better. They can't seem to get that. They can't seem to get that mix in. And not to mention, I mean, they are wasting. I never thought I would say this about The Miz, but they're just wasting The Miz right now.
And he's great. He's a great personality.
He is a great personality, and they're just wasting him on stupid garbage. You really think a guy the Miz's size could get taken down by Snoop Dogg? Come on. Come on. Like, come on. Like, it made sense that Pat McAfee was able to take down the Miz. It made sense that he got help from George Kittle, because George Kittle is an NFL tight end. Like, that made sense. Snoop Dogg, that made absolutely no sense. No sense. It shouldn't have. And the thing is, when you watch that, The Miz is great at putting people over. He is one of the best at putting people over. He made Snoop look good, but you still looked at it like, there's no way this happened. Like, this wouldn't happen. A guy Miz's size would break Snoop in half. So that was a really down moment. It really sucked a lot of air out. And of course they did that right before the championship match, which was kind of like, all right, it sucked the air out. And then Cody Rhodes brought it back, and then just to have it ripped out from underneath us, it was shocking there. Brock Lesnar, I saw a lot of people excited about Brock Lesnar's return, and like you thought Brock Lesnar was going to get beat by Omos? Come on.
No.
Come on.
I like Zayn. How you like the Zayn's match?
I love this. I called it when they announced that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as a tag team deserve a belt. Now they have one. It'll be interesting to see which way they go with them, because they're both great performers, and they both play both sides well. Sami Zayn works awesome as a heel. Kevin Owens is a fantastic heel. They're also good faces, so they can play both sides of it. So will they be a face team or will they be a heel team? And if they start out as a face team, when do they eventually make that turn? So there's a lot of intriguing things that you could do with them. and that's why they work as a title. And so I like that. I like them teaming up together. They've put on great matches. Of course, at some point it's going to blow up, and they're going to have matches against each other because their matches in NXT were the best I've ever seen NXT do. Owens and Zayn, and then now that they're in WWE together, they've put on great matches. So I would say they're probably going to be tag team for a while and then have a blow up and then end up having singles matches later on in the year.
All right, since let's get into it. Since I'm not a journalist, I'm not a journalist. I'm a hood booger. I'm a loser. You know what I mean? They said I'm the loser. You know what I mean? I love being the heel. So
what is a journal? What is a journalist today?
I don't know, man. Some people think Dan Orlovsky is a journalist.
Yeah.
The Connecticut Pride. Connecticut Pride. So I feel like I really do feel like the 49ers are going to be on a decline next year.
I think there's room for that. We've seen teams get to championship games and drop off before. We've seen.
But how many games do you expect Christian McCaffrey to play next year? That's a lot. He got a lot of miles on him.
Yeah, that's always going to be the talk of the town. Is how many games is Christian McCaffrey? Can they keep Christian McCaffrey healthy all year long again? I mean, you look at his career. This year was the outlier.
Mm-hmm.
This year, what you look at every other year in his career, he's missed significant parts of the year. If not, I think up until this year, he never finished a full year. He never finished a season, which, that's going to be the talk. Now, me as somebody who looks at it, I never count on somebody getting injured. I never count. When I look at teams and I say, all right, projecting schedules out and projecting wins loss, I don't go, all right, well, this game is in week 8, which means Christian McCaffrey's going to be injured. I'll take an injury when it happens. I'll assess it then. But you look at the 49ers on paper are clearly a playoff team. The NFC West is garbage.
What do you want Sam Darnold? You think Sam Darnold can be a steady hand for them to push them to the playoffs? Or are you going Trey Lance?
No, I'm going with Sam Darnold. I'm not going with Trey. I don't believe in Trey. I don't believe in Trey Lance.
South Dakota Pride.
I didn't believe. No, North Dakota.
North Dakota.
North Dakota State.
Yeah, North Dakota.
I didn't believe in him when he got drafted. When he got drafted, I didn't believe in him in that draft class, especially as high as he got drafted. And from what we've seen of him, we saw him play one game. He played one game in one of the worst weather games that we saw, and the offense looked pathetic. And the offense looked pathetic without him. And then Jimmy G, the 49ers turned it around, and then Brock Purdy was able to keep that going. So clearly it was something with Trey Lance that didn't make that offense go. So either he's going to have to put in a lot of work and a lot of film study and a lot of personal, ability to get better. But I don't see him as being their starter day one off what I've seen. I don't think I think they'll try to put him in as starter day one, but I don't think you can do that. And Sam Darnold is tested and true, and we know what you're getting. Well,
and I worry. There's a couple other glaring problems I see that worries me about the 49ers, like the defensive coordinator position with Steve Wilks. I don't know what that defense is going to look like. Can we say that? Is that a fair assumption?
We could, but I mean, you see what Steve Wilks did. Steve Wilks did a great job taking over the coaching job in Carolina.
But do you think that I liked it, D'Amico Ryan. I liked it.
Yeah, but
I like his play calling though.
You know what makes a defensive coordinator really good?
What, the players?
Having having Nick Bosa on one side, and having Armstrong in the middle, and having a defensive line that gets after the quarterback. That makes a defensive coordinator look really good when you can rush 4 guys and you can get to the quarterback. You don't have to be a defensive genius to say, all right, you 4 rush the quarterback and we'll figure the rest out. If you don't have to blitz and you can still get to the quarterback, you're in good shape.
Like
I'm not worried about Steve Wilks. Plus, Wilks has been a good defensive coordinator. You look at those defenses they've had in Carolina. They've been pretty good on defense in Carolina. Defense was never the problem in Carolina.
Yeah, I feel you on that, but it's also the secondary with losing Ward. I think that Ward loss was
the secondary. The secondary was already
weak.
A question mark for the 49ers before the loss of Ward. Now it becomes an even bigger, and we'll see. Speaking of, I mean, it's April 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
We're 21 days, 20, 24, 25 days away from the NFL draft. There's plenty that they can do at the draft to upgrade that secondary, especially in the position that they're in. So yeah. I think they can do some things and make some moves in the draft that can upgrade that secondary. And like I said, you can make a good secondary look great if you can get after the quarterback. You get after the quarterback, that secondary looks a lot better than a team that lets the quarterback sit back there and pick them apart.
But if I'm them, I'm drafting to get some more depth at the linebacker position because they lack after Warner. After that, it's over with. What's that linebacker name? Not Warner. What's the linebacker name?
Van.
What's his name?
Van. Whatever. They got two guys. They got Warner and they got. I
forgot the dude's name. Anyway.
I keep thinking Kyle Van Noy every time I see him. It's not Kyle Van Noy, but it's Van something. But they've got pieces there. I agree with you. Linebacker would be something that they should.
Especially corners.
I think they need to look secondary first and if a linebacker happens to be on the board when they're picking, if that's the best player available, then you got to take a linebacker. But if I'm them, I'm looking secondary first, and then I'll go linebacker if it's available. For that.
I really, it's just fair to say, if you did the draft right now, you do the draft right now, and Brock Purdy was in it, how high do you think he would go?
I think he'd go in the same spot he went last year. I think Brock Purdy would go in the fifth round or later. He's a backup quarterback. He's not a starting quarterback. He's a guy who he showed what he could do last year. He showed he could spot start. That's exactly what he is.
And a lot of people think I'm wrong about. I see a backup quarterback.
That's what he's always. That's what he's always been.
I don't see a franchise quarterback.
That's what he's always been. I mean, anybody who watched him play at Iowa State, you knew what he was. You knew what you were getting when you got Brock Purdy. You're getting a guy who is, as you said, he's a backup quarterback.
And there's nothing wrong with being a backup quarterback.
Is he a guy you can build a team around? Sure. Sure, you can build a team around him. He's not the guy who is going to win. He's not going to win you games dropping back 30, 40 times a game. It's not going to happen.
And you know what I mean? I've seen something. I feel like, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm nitpicking. And Deeks, if I'm nitpicking, but I don't think his release is that quick. To be dropping him back 30 to 40 times.
He's not a sharpshooter. He's not one of these guys. He's not one of these guys that'll snap the ball. He's a guy that will extend play. He can extend plays. He can and you know, I'm not going to sit here and say he's a guy that, you know, can run the option. He's not an option guy. He's a guy that can manipulate. He's a guy that can manipulate from inside the pocket, but he's not a guy. He's not. You're right about the quick release kind of thing. He's not a guy that's gonna get the ball, boom, and get it out. He's a guy that will catch the ball, and he does have a little bit of a setup. That's always been his thing. And if you look at him play at Iowa State, he has a little bit of that gunslinger where he will force a ball in there every now and then. But he's also a guy that has played under – you look at the guys he's played under, Matt Campbell is a great head coach at the college level. And Matt Campbell put him in the best spots to win. You also look at who he played with. He played with Xavier Hutchinson. He played with Breece Hall, who you look at what he did last year for the Jets. So he's been in situations, and then you get to the NFL level, he got to play behind Jimmy G. He got to play, you know, he got to work with Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan is Kyle Shanahan, for everything that we don't like about Kyle Shanahan, the one thing that he does know how to do is put his guys in the best positions. He's not going to – Kyle Shanahan's not going to look at that team and go, if Brock Purdy's my quarterback, all right, I'm going to drop back 50 times a game. No, he's not going to do that.
And I'm not saying – do I think Kyle Shanahan is a good head coach? Yeah, he's a damn good head coach. But I think he's too smart for his own good. He definitely fucks up. Yeah, adjustments sometimes, major adjustments.
Like any of these coaches, they all have their faults. You pick any head coach, they all have their faults.
There's no way you should have lost an 11-point lead.
The question is, can you overcome those faults with the upsides? And right now, Kyle Shanahan's upsides are way more than his faults, but they are there. And I think Kyle is a good enough coach and a good enough guy where he recognizes those, and he does put them in. You know, everybody's always going to go back to 28-3. I mean, that is on Kyle. That is going to be on Kyle Shanahan's resume until the day he dies. You're going at 28-3 is always going to be there.
And yes, let's not forget that lead he had against Kansas City. All he had to do was run the ball again. Can we say that? All he had to do is run the ball again, and it was up by 11, and they lost that lead. All they had to do was run the clock out, keep on running the ball, and that's something I never understand. He comes from his dad, Mike, who loved to run the ball. We wouldn't talk about Terrell Davis without Mike running that damn ball, and Kyle doesn't like to run the ball, and when it's in that pressure time, he likes to get cute and throw it.
I think that team. I think when you look at that team at that time, they didn't have a guy that I don't think they had a guy that Kyle felt was all right. I can hand this guy the ball 25 times. I don't think they had that. And I think that played into it a lot of of his decision making. I mean, I'm not gonna try to get into Kyle's head. I'm not gonna try to figure it out. Everybody was saying run the ball, but at the same time, if you don't have the horses or you don't feel confident in running the football, then you don't feel confident in the guys that you have, then you've got to try to do something else. You know, but Kyle's gonna be Kyle. I think he's learned from that. He says that he's learned from that, and we'll see how that plays out, and we'll see how it plays out now that he has a bell cow guy in Christian McCaffrey. And
I don't think he's a bell cow though, man. I think he got a limit on his touches, man. You cannot. I would not give him more than 15 touches going down that.
No, but late in a game, in end game scenario, I mean, you put Christian McCaffrey on that Super Bowl team. There's no way they're going to run the football there. They're going to run the football on those plays. They're going to run the football there because they have a guy that they can trust in Christian McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was Raheem Mostert at the time. I don't think they had, they didn't have that kind of faith in Raheem Mostert that he was going to carry them to a Super Bowl. I think if you get in that situation again with this roster, you're giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey down the stretch, and you're not looking back. Whereas the team back then, they didn't have that guy.
I gotta say this, Deez. Is this trade going to happen or not? Because I feel like it's like waiting for the Detox album by Dr. Dre. Is the Aaron Rodgers situation going to ever get resolved?
The Packers are playing. The Packers are playing hardball right now.
And would you do the same thing? I feel like the Jets are desperate. If they're desperate, you might as well keep on strangling.
I don't think the Jets are desperate. See, I don't think the Jets are desperate. I think the Jets are saying. I think the Packers are the one. The Jets. I would be doing exactly what the Jets are doing. Oh, you're asking for that? You're nuts. You're crazy. We're not doing that because the guy's already stated he's not going back there. I mean, Aaron Rodgers pretty much shot Green Bay in the foot. He pretty much cut their leg off, and they're to bring up a movie reference. They're like the knight in they're like the Black Knight in Monty Python. Like there you got Aaron Rodgers just cut their leg off, and the Jets are like, yeah, you guys don't have a leg to stand on. Like this guy's not going back there. So you either take what we give you or you get nothing. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't play because Aaron Rodgers isn't going back to Green Bay. He's not. He's already said he's not playing. They don't want him. He thinks they don't want him. So he's not gonna go back and play somewhere where he's not wanted. So I think that's what they're waiting. I think draft night will tell you a lot more. I think Aaron Rodgers gets traded either on draft night or after Thursday night. After that first Thursday, he might get traded then.
I'm ready for Tom Brady to sign this one-day contract. When is this going to happen? Like, come on, let's sign this retirement paper.
What, to retire as a Patriot?
Yeah, come on, let's do it, Tom. Come on, TB.
Because that's when you know it's over.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
That's when you know it's over. And right now, Tom, it ain't over for Tom yet. It ain't over. He could say, "Oh, I'm retired. I'm this, that, and the other thing." Till you retire as a Patriot, then it's not over yet. It's not over yet. I'm telling you that right now.
He's definitely pump faking it. But you know what I mean. I feel like he should have a statue right. At Gillette. You got to build him a statue, not one of them cheap one. It's got to be a nice statue, and then it's gonna have to say 25-3 on the statue.
I think you gotta let this breathe a little bit. You can't just go out there and go, all right, Tom Brady retired. Let's do a Tom Brady day this year.
No, not this year.
Tom Brady, the Tom Brady year will be 3-4 years down. That'll be 3-4 years down the road, and then they'll do something for Tom Brady. It'll be something on it. It'll be sometime when they play a game on the 12th day of some. Preferably, it'll be a game when they play on like December 12th when it's 12-12, and they're like, oh, 12-12, we retire number 12. Like, and it'll be some crazy thing like that. Like that's when it'll come. But yeah, that's all. That's all gonna come. They're gonna honor Tom Brady the way they need to. So,
like this NBA Hall of Fame dudes. You look at the background right here. That's the statue for Tom Brady right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those 6 banners right there. That's Tom Brady's statue right there. It is beautiful. But let's talk about this NBA Hall of Fame, man. This shit right here. Dirk Nowitzki, I give you that. Dirk was ahead of his time for shooting as a stretch 4. Can we say that?
Well, it's not. No, let's get this straight. It's not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. The
Basketball Hall of Fame. Yes, say that.
So, of course, you're going to get Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, Dirk Nowitzki was a Hall of Famer before he even came to the NBA.
But Paul Gasol, that shit.
Paul Gasol, you got Paul Gasol deserving. You got
Tony Parker. Or are you going to his international? Tony Parker. You got to go for the international stats because you can't say NBA. I don't think
international stats and as part of the Spurs dynasty. Yeah, it makes sense.
But D Wade, I give you that. I give you D Wade and Dirk, but the Paul and Tony. That's why I'm like, yeah.
You look at what I mean. The Basketball Hall of Fame. The Basketball Hall of Fame is a joke. When you look at any of the other Hall of Fames, the easiest one to get into is the NBA.
What's up with you? Yeah, man, it's
the easiest one to get into, and you see, when you say, oh, Tony Parker's a fringe guy. I mean, you look at all the other guys that have gotten in. Tony Parker is clearly a Hall of Fame. I mean, he's clearly an NBA. He's clearly a Basketball Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
When you take his Spurs career and then you add in his international career, and it's not even close.
So I'm guessing Mayo getting in there too.
Who?
Ginobili.
Oh yeah, Manu will be in there. Absolutely. His Argentinian career is absolutely insane.
So we're gonna put Bruce Bowen in too?
No, you're not gonna put Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen's a stretch. Manu Ginobili won a gold medal.
Scalabrine, the Kobe, white Kobe.
And he whooped on the dream team that they sent the dream team that they sent down there. He so just on that alone, he's gonna get in. Then you add in his Spurs, what he did with the Spurs, and not to mention Manu Ginobili. I know they do like busts and everything. Manu Ginobili deserves to be in the Hall of Fame just for the bat slap, just for slapping a bat out. He did it not once but twice in his NBA career. How many people have slapped a bat out of the air in the arena?
Yeah,
that's Hall of Fame worthy right there.
That's crazy. That's definitely crazy right there, man. You know what I mean? I've been talking in the chat. You know what I mean? You know, I'm a chat goer.
Yeah.
But I feel like Kyrie Irving got like a top all-time handle of all time. You can put easily like a top 10 handle. You wouldn't put him like a top 10 handle of all time? I mean,
well, I mean, you're not getting above AI. So AI is going at the top.
Mm-hmm.
AI's going at the top. Kyrie at top 10. It'd be close. You'd have to look. I'd have to really parse it out, but top 10's not. I don't think that's out of reach for Kyrie. Kyrie's a great ball handler.
And you know what I mean? I gotta say this. My I've been trolling this all year long, Deets. And I'm gonna need my receipt coming up soon because it looked like my Lakers gonna get the 8th seed. Look like my Lakers gonna get the 8th seed. I've been saying this all year long. They're gonna make the playoffs.
Well,
a lot of people thought I was smoking coke.
They gotta win. They gotta win. They gotta win the play-in to get the 8th seed. They gotta win at the play-in tournament.
And I thought I saw they got the Pelicans. I think they can beat the Pelicans.
Pelicans. It all depends on. If
AD play like Tarzan.
It all depends on Zion. If Zion's there, the Pelicans have a chance. If he's not, then they don't.
They're not. He's not playing that. He's not playing this year. If AD play like Tarzan, not James,
yeah,
that's the key. LeBron's not the number one option no more.
But the thing about the Lakers is which Lakers team shows up. I mean, if the Lakers team that's been playing the last couple of weeks, if they show up, yeah, they could win. They could win a playoff spot. They could win a playoff spot in the play-in tournament. However, if the Lakers team from 2 weeks ago shows up, the Lakers team that walked into Chicago 2 weeks ago, if they show up, they could get beat by anybody. I mean, the Lakers are that topsy-turvy where they could walk into a game, the wrong team shows up that day, they could easily get beat. And that's the fun. That's why they implemented this play-in tournament is, you got to play your way in. And if you don't show up one night, you could get run out.
Jamal Murray, I got to say this too. Jamal Murray had a great game yesterday, and the Denver Nuggets played a great game, man. That was a great game last night against the Warriors.
When Jamal Murray is Jamal Murray, the Nuggets are hard to beat.
And they're deep, man.
Exactly.
I think that guy got one of the deepest rotations in the NBA. You know what I mean? With
Porter.
Pope, Porter, Gordon. That bench just deep.
Yeah,
it's just like.
But that's why they were. I mean, you're not gonna get any argument out of me. That's why I picked them to make it to the finals. That's why I picked them at the beginning of the year, and I'm not stopping that. I'm not getting off that train now.
And I gotta give Cole his props because I saw that game prior to that without Jokic, and that team's a completely different team. It doesn't even look like a playoff team without him.
No, you take the MVP. That's why he's the MVP. I mean, that's why he's going to be a 3-time MVP because you take him off that team, and that team is a joke. You put him on that team, and they're the best team. They're the best team in the league.
But I think he's to submit himself to the upper echelon of big men. I think he got to get out the West, man.
Well,
at least go to the conference finals, the Western Conference Final. I think you got to do that. You can't.
What about that game? What about that game Thursday night?
What?
What about the Celtics?
Oh man,
they beat the Bucks by 40.
That shit was crazy.
I mean,
I had to look. I thought I was watching like a 2K game because I didn't expect that.
I think I saw a lot. I saw a lot of takes after that. Oh, look how good the Celtics are! I'm like, yo, you realize Jason Tatum put in 50. You can't rely on Jason Tatum scoring 50 points every night. Like that's that. So, as a Celtics fan, I looked at the score and went, wait, what? And then I looked at how many Tatum had. I was like, yeah, when Tatum scores 50, yeah, the Celtics are going to look like that.
Do you think? What year Jaylen Brown in his contract? How many more years he got in his contract?
I believe he's in a last year. I believe he's looking at a max deal next.
Damn.
I believe he's looking at a max deal.
You think y'all gonna pay that?
Uh-huh.
Because I feel like he could be a number one guy somewhere.
Yeah, I think he'll get. I mean, I love Jaylen. I love Jaylen Brown. I hope the Celtics are gonna treat him, because to me he is. I've said this from before last year. Jaylen Brown is the more important one. I want Jaylen Brown. I want Jaylen Brown having the ball in his hand every time down the floor.
There's something about Browns in Celtics. D Brown, you know what I mean? Something about Brown in that Celtic uniform. It's crazy. But
good old number 7.
You know what I mean? I feel like he could be a number one somewhere else, and you know what I mean. That money now in the NBA is crazy to keep players. So
yeah,
you know what I mean.
but you get him, but the only ones who can offer him a max contract are the Celtics. So I think he'll have. I think he'll have it. I think it's if like there's certain things, like if he makes certain all pro team, like he can get like a super max or something. It's one of those kind of deals.
And if you are the Clippers, are you breaking up that super team, man? Paul George and Kawhi, man.
I mean, is Kawhi Leonard still part of the league? I haven't heard anything about Kawhi. You haven't heard anything about Kawhi Leonard in about 3 years. Ever since he won the title, you pretty much have not heard a thing about Kawhi Leonard.
We gotta make a 30 for 30 for Kawhi, man. You should have a 30 for 30. What happened to Kawhi? Like that shit should be a 30 for 30.
His whole career should be a 30 for 30. I mean, you talk about his time at San Diego State was insane. He gets to the NBA, goes to the Spurs, and then has, we have the undercut rule because of Kawhi Leonard, because of what happened to him in that series. And then, he wins a couple championships, has an injury, and that whole thing started this trend of of players saying when they want to play and when they don't want to play, and all of that. The load management that's all you need to call it. You have a 30 for 30 called load management, and just make it about Kawhi Leonard, because he's the start of all that. But ever since that Toronto series, you haven't heard. You talk about what's his name, and the kid from the guy who used to play in Philly and then went to Brooklyn. Everybody talks about how I forgot the guy that played at LSU.
Who played at LSU? What are you talking about?
The number one pick. He was in Philly.
Oh, Ben Simmons.
Yeah. Everybody talks about Ben Simmons. Like, we haven't heard anything about Ben Simmons. When's the last time you heard somebody talk about Kawhi Leonard? I mean, Ben Simmons gets a lot of crap because he hasn't won. Kawhi Leonard kind of skates under because he has a championship, but ever since he went to Los Angeles, I haven't heard a thing about him in a Clippers uniform.
I gotta say this too, man. I gotta give props to LB Shore's brother, Tracy Thompson, because he was bowling out the other day, man. Them 3 major home runs he had, man, that was a good game with the Dodgers, man. He's a solid baseball player. Michael Thompson got that for kids / sons duos. He's up there. I give it to him. He's in my top 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's hard you to pass on that genetic. You know what I mean? So for you have a son in the major league, you got a son in the NBA. You gotta give props. You gotta give flowers.
Okay. You're talking father sons. You're never gonna pass Griffey. You're never gonna pass Griffey outfield. And you're never going to pass Bonds. So
that's your 1A, 1B.
1A 1A is Bonds. I mean, number one is Bobby and Barry.
Where would the Vladimir Senior and Junior be at? Are they at least in the top 10?
Oh,
I think they're a decent duo.
10? Are there even 10 to get to? Like, I mean, the other one, the Griffies, because they played together. It's totally different because they actually played together. But you talk about Bobby Bonds. If Bobby Bonds didn't play next to Willie Mays, Bobby Bonds would be talked about as being. I mean, we talk about how good Bobby Bonds was. The problem was he was overshadowed by Willie Mays playing center field. And then Barry, you don't need anything about Barry. Barry is the best hitter of all time. I don't care who you at. I don't care what you say about that. He's the best hitter I've ever seen. I don't care steroids or not. He was still the best hitter.
This is what I don't understand. This is what I don't understand. This steroids, non-steroid shit, it gets on my nerves because it's not going to help that swing. You still gotta focus your eyes and hit that ball regardless.
And you look at that swing. I still say that. I said this the other day. I'll say it now. I'll say it 20 years from now. That is the most violent swing I've ever seen somebody have. Bonds' swing, when he hit the ball, you knew it. You knew when he hit the ball, it was smoking. But they would definitely be at the top. Then you got the Griffies, but then you got to go to your guys, the Oriole. You gotta go to the Ripkins. I mean, you got to put the Ripkins in there with Cal Senior, Cal Junior, and Billy.
Yeah.
So they would be third on my list. Then you got the Alomars. You got Sandy Alomar Senior, Sandy Alomar Jr., Roberto Alomar. You got a lot of families in baseball. There's a lot of families that you can go to.
I'm sorry to say this, man. I know it's too soon, but Tiger's son, man. Tiger's son gonna be that. Charlie Woods. I think he's gonna be a major pro in the golf. Charlie.
He's got big shoes to step into.
Great swing though. Great swinging that.
Yeah,
he can drive it. He can drive it.
The swing is not the issue.
Yeah.
It's going to be all between the head. It's going to be all between his head. I mean, and I mean how the
Mannings too. You got to put the Mannings up there too.
Yeah, man. The Mannings up there. The problem with the Mannings is, I mean, everybody talks about Archie. Was Archie Manning really that good?
No, but
was he really that good? Like, that's the thing. Like, was Archie? Look, Peyton and Eli, we know about that, but Archie, yeah, he like what he did. I guess because he started with the Saints, but the Saints never won anything with Archie.
Yeah, Dalhart Senior and Junior.
Yeah,
that's I give a lot of the NASCAR drivers a lot of props because I get dizzy driving that laps.
Yeah, Dale. I mean, you can do a lot. You can go to a lot of NASCAR drivers. You go Richard Petty, Richard Petty Jr. You go with the Wallaces, Rusty Wallace. And his kid's a driver now. So there's a lot of lineage. There's a lot of lineage there.
What about the Berries? Would you put them on the list too?
Oh yeah,
Rick Barry,
absolutely. Rick Barry, Brent Barry. They're basketball royalty when it comes to family. They're like, to me though, they're like, and this is an old school. I'll go old school wrestling. They're like the Von Erichs to me. Like the Berries are to basketball what the Von Erichs were to wrestling, where it's just tragic things happen to Rick. I mean, Rick Barry was great, but the kids just tragic things, and not as tragic as the Von Erich. With the Von Erichs, that was life ending. But as far as careers go, Brent Barry's career-ending injury was awful.
Oh, we had some comments. I didn't know we had some comments on Facebook. Let me see. It's over for Tom. Dev said, "What's Tom Brady's Super Bowl game?" It's two. I don't know if you're asking me what's my favorite Tom Brady Super Bowl. I don't understand that. No,
that's an easy one.
The greatest. I like the Greatest Show on Turf. I like that. I like the Carolina one. I even like how we covered in that 04 one with the Eagles. I like that one. I like Seattle. But that 25-3, that shit hit different. I'm sorry, Deets. And even that Rams, the last one, that Rams one, how we shut down the Rams to only 3 points. That's legendary.
The weird thing about Tom Brady's best Super Bowl game was a loss.
Oh, yeah.
It was Philly. It was the game against Philly. That game against Philly, he threw for almost 400 yards. Like he was masterful, and he was masterful in that game. The problem was, so was Nick Foles. That was the problem.
Lakers getting the 7th seed. It's a possibility. I'm seeing a lot of reports they talking about them possibly getting the 6th. I don't see that. It's not that many games. I don't think people are going to drop off like that bad.
If they can get into the 6th and not have to not even have to play, not even have to get to the playing game, that's huge. But if the Lakers are in the play-in tournament, they could be 7. They could be anywhere from 7 to out real quick. I mean, again, it matters which Lakers team walks through that door.
Yeah.
And anybody that says, "Oh, they're guaranteed," you really want to put a guarantee on a team that lost to the Chicago Bulls?
Come on,
that was down 20 at halftime to Chicago. If that Lakers team walks through the door, they're going to get blown out by whoever steps on the floor.
Hey, stop it, dudes.
I'm just saying that's a possibility. And everybody, how many people do we see that say, "Oh, they're definitely going to do. The Lakers are definitely going to win this game"? Like, I've seen that by a bunch. Oh, the Lakers are definitely going to win their first game in the play-in tournament. I'm like, you say that like they haven't been blown out by shitty teams this year. Like, I've seen them get blown out. I've seen them blow teams out. Whatever. If they're down 20 at halftime, they're going to get blown out. I'm sorry. That's just what it is.
Well, I got to get to this. We have to end the show. I got to get to this, though. Draymond Green, can you please stay off the weed, man? Because it's no way in hell. It's no way. There's no way in hell that you think that Warrior team could have beat the whole 2000 Lakers, man. It's no way. I don't see it. No way it could happen.
Which Warriors team?
I'm guessing he's talking about the peak years of the Warriors. I guess what's the last run? Let's say what's the last year? Let's go with last year or
last year's team.
Let's go with KD. The KD team.
The KD team's got a shot. KD team's got a shot. If KD's healthy, in those years that KD was the MVP of the finals, yeah. If you get NBA Finals MVP KD, yeah, they got a shot.
I think Rick Fox would bully. Rick Fox would bully Wiggins any day of the week.
Rick Fox would bully them.
Rick Fox had a shot.
Who on the Warriors is going to stop Shaq?
Nobody.
He's bigger than the entire team put together.
And D Fish, people hate on D Fish, but D Fish was a hell of a defender.
Oh,
The Bulldog was a hell of a defender.
He was a great defender. And then you got Kobe Bryant, just waiting there. I mean, come on. Do you think Draymond Green would have been Shaq would have eat him eat him up?
God.
Who I'm trying to think of who they had. Bogut? Like who would have been the 5 that would have stopped Shaquille O'Neal? Nobody. Nobody on that team would stop. The only thing that they would have done is they would have tried to shoot the lights out of him.
And I forgot about Robert Horry, man, coming off that bench, that wet jumper.
Of course,
6'10". You can't teach 6'10".
What do you think Robert Horry got? His 9. What do you get? Like 12. I know he got at least 9 titles.
Brian Shaw, I forgot about Brian Shaw. Glenn Rice, he was decent. And I forgot what year Ryder was on there. JR.
Oh, you mean Isaiah?
Yeah, Isaiah. My fault. Isaiah.
He was towards the end. He was towards the end. I would say he was towards the end of that era. But you'd have to talk about that Lakers team. You'd have to talk the early Lakers run. Because before all the Kobe Shaq chaos.
And Shaq said it himself in the interview. He said, "Man, I should have took less. We could have definitely been dominant. I should have took less."
Yeah, Shaq, Shaq says that now. Anybody would say that now. But when Shaq was at his day, Shaq was like, "No, I'm the man. Give me all of it," and he deserved it.
Can we say Miami Shaq was the peak of his powers of athleticism? I mean, push it down the court.
No,
when it was light, man. I like that Shaq better. I don't know something about it. I just like that Shaq. I feel like that Shaq.
Peak athleticism was definitely with Orlando.
That's what I'm saying. Orlando.
Oh, you said Miami because Shaq did play.
No, not Miami. Orlando when he was going down the court.
Absolutely. I still have my Orlando Shaq jersey. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
When Shaq was breaking, Shaq would tear hoops down. That's how crazy he was, and he would be like running point guard with them. It was nuts.
It was definitely crazy, man. It was definitely crazy. But Deets, what you have before we get out of here, man? This week. This week I got Thursday with Snowman. I got Thursday. Hold on. We can't say that name.
All right, I got the morning show. I don't
want no hate mail today.
Yeah, I got the morning show on Thursday, so I'll drop some stuff there. But I'm gonna do a Fit Down Sports on Thursday night. So I will do a show there. It all depends what happens tonight. Because if UConn wins tonight, then we'll have a championship party on Thursday, and we'll celebrate that.
You gotta put the goggles on. You gotta go Randy Savage goggles.
Yeah,
pop some champagne if that happens.
Yeah, I'll be at work, so I'll be at work tonight when the game is on. So we'll have the game on. We'll have the game on while we're doing our stuff at work. But so it all depends. Like if UConn wins, then we're gonna do an all UConn championship show on Thursday, and do that, and then Saturday I'll be on the Legacy Makers Network doing some debate stuff. So I'll be kicking it around with them on Saturday. So this is a big week.
I hope you prepared. Because you know what I mean. I don't want them to have to carry you.
Oh yeah. I don't want to be. I can't wait for that. I already know what one of the questions is going to be, and you can't. I'm sorry. You can't give a guy like me 2 weeks to 2 weeks to prep for that, dude. I'm telling you, I'm ready. I'm ready. I already know the kid I'm going against. I already know his answer, and I already have a bomb ready to drop. I'm gonna be like, he's gonna say his answer, and I'm just gonna be like, "Are you sticking with that?" And then I'm gonna be like, "Are you sticking with your answer?" Because here, and I'm gonna drop the bomb and be like, "Boom."
So you want some Larry Legend type shit? You really gonna put a white boy on me?
I'll beat you. I'll beat you left-handed. Go out and score 42.
Oh man,
Larry, that was Larry. That was Larry at his best.
I still think like him and Chris Mullins are probably my favorite white players of all time. I hate to bring race to it because Chris Mullins didn't take shit from nobody. Chris Mullins didn't give zero fucks, and that's what made him legendary. Him and Larry, like they didn't give zero. Chris
Mullin grew up in New York, playing ball in playgrounds in New York, and then went to St. John's. And people are always like, "Oh, he was just a California guy." I'm like, he played in New York. You know how? Like, go down to Rucker Park and go watch them play.
And that military cut was hard.
Chris Mullin used to take them to school down there. That's how good he was. People forget how good Chris Mullin was in college. In college, he was unbelievable.
No doubt.
Well, so I got a lot going on this week, but we're definitely doing a show on Thursday. We're gonna get back to it, and of course, like I said, it's April 3rd, and we're 3 weeks out from the draft. The draft is the last week of April, so we're gonna start getting everybody ready for we took our break for the NCAA tournament, and Fit Down Sports will be back on Thursday, and we'll be back to doing regular stuff. So
I'm gonna get ready for my vacation, so I'm excited. Next month in May, I'll be on vacation, so I'm excited about that. But you know what I mean. I gotta say this: my closing is no country for old men. I'm coming for the top. You know what I mean? I love all my haters. So all the hate mail, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Whoever unsubscribed today, I'm gonna get another one back. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get 2 more. So you know what I mean? I love it. I love beating the hill. I love beating the hill.
Dude, heels are the best. We talk about it all the time, man. Dude, be Chris Jericho. I mean, Jericho was great heel.
Oh my God! Remember that bed scene though?
But on that,
you can't even see that shit. No,
on that note, Rod, I love coming on the show, and as long as you're doing the show, as long as you send me the link, I'll be here.
They try to break up the tandem though. They try to break the tandem up.
Yeah, it's
the power to be the sport, the journalist Illuminati try to break the team to be. But it's all right.
You and I got the same journalistic credentials. So I don't even know what a journalist is. I don't know what they're supposed to do. And here's the truth, Rod.
Oh man.
I don't know what they're supposed to do, and I don't care, because I'm gonna keep doing what I do, and I'm gonna keep giving you. Because what I always said is journalists. The term journalist has become pretty much just spit out whatever you want to say. Like, you take the story and fit it to your narrative instead of just tell the story. Tell the story. Here's the fact. That's how I'm gonna report stuff. I'm gonna say, hey, if the Lakers do make the playoffs, I'm gonna say Lakers made the playoffs. They did what they're supposed to do.
And a lot of people understand though, fandom is the part. That's why we do it. Our fandom got us to talk about sports.
Yeah.
Like you would have not fell in love with the Mets. You know what I mean? Your biggest hero is Darryl Strawberry. So your fandom even drew you closer to the Mets. You know what I mean? Like, or just players in general drew you closer to the team you like. You know what I mean? And for the people that get mad about me, what I say about LeBron James, he is my Michael Jordan of my era, right? Because I am about to be 31 years old. You know what I mean? I'm about to be 31.
It's not a. It's not a problem. We've all, this is true. We have said this. Fit Down Sports Show. This has been our tagline since day one. Since before we were doing YouTube. Since the day we started that show, we've always said, "Tell me why you're wrong." Mm-hmm. I don't have to. I don't have to think you're right. I don't have to think you're right to be able to have a conversation with you. Mm-hmm. What you say, you can be wrong. That's fine. I can walk away from that and go, he's wrong, but hey, that's how he feels. Awesome. It's okay for somebody to be wrong. It's okay. And it's okay for them to come at me and say, no, what you said is wrong, and here's why. And that's how we have conversations. If everybody believed the same thing, it would be boring as hell.
And that's why I say, man, it's lanes for everybody out here on podcasting. I'll bring a different flavor than other people bring flavors. You bring statistical facts, but you have fun different ways. It's okay. And that's what's great about podcasting. Somebody brings different things. You know what I mean? Of course, I have people sometimes on here smoking blunts. Some days I drink. Fuck it. I'm gonna have a good time. You know what I mean? I don't like the conservative, oh, you doing it right because I do it right. But let's be real. There's a lot of people on the streets right now talking to somebody that's smoking a blunt and just talking about sports. There's people out here just drink in the bars and they just talk about sports. And that's the most organic way to talk about sports. On a nice cold beer.
Absolutely. I talk about it every week. Where do I watch sports? I watch my sports at the bar. That's where I go. I watch sports. I have a drink. I talk to people. Like we have more sports conversations at the bar than anybody. We have more conversations about everything at the bar.
That is a barbershop.
And we're sitting there drinking a beer. Like and people would go, "Oh, that's not professional." Like, what are you talking about? We're sitting here having a good time. If people want to have a drink, go right ahead. If people don't drink and they want to smoke a blunt while they're doing it, go right ahead. Like, do you? It doesn't affect. If it doesn't affect you, why do you care?
This what I'm saying. This
if it doesn't affect me. I don't give a damn what you do.
But the person I'm not going to talk about, Jack Frost. I love this back to back. I watched the morning show today. I appreciate you, big fella. I feel like all press is good press. So I appreciate it. And you know what I mean? You could be my Stone Cold, and I could be The Rock. And you know what I mean? We can be in separate places. But I love the free publicity today. And this has been another episode of Midday Sports with Rod and the Lunch Crew / Fit Down Sports. If you're gonna break that one out, you might as well make him your Jake the Snake. Oh shit! I never thought about that. And be stone cold when you get that King of the Ring. Oh man, God, man, that was a good one of the best speeches of all time. I like the Jake the Snake when he was throwing that fucking snake on everybody. That shit was cool. I don't know why whoever wrote that into the wrestling. That was great. That was great. That was great. Yeah, and then Stone Cold killed him. Yeah, and then Stone Cold ended his career, and it was awesome. He definitely fucked him up. But yes, man, let the people know again what time Thursday. All right, Thursday at 8:30. 8:30 we're gonna start, and we go until my computer dies. That's pretty much how we do the show. Till we run out of things to talk about, or my computer dies and we don't feel like doing it anymore. But also make sure you go follow Chris Dietz at Fifth Down Sports, and make sure you come, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button for both channels. You know what I mean? You got to scroll this thing out. Also, hey people, I'm going live tonight. The outrage of bitch assness is coming. There you go. Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Come check me out.
All right, I'll throw you on while I'm at work.
You know what I mean? 8 p.m. I probably go on. It's a lot of people that don't give a fuck about national championship. I'm just being real. There's a lot of people.
I'll throw you on right before the national championship game.
I appreciate that, man.
Let's go UConn. Let's win so I can do my celebration on Thursday. Because, man, if they win 5 of the last 25 years, they would win. UConn will have 20% of the last championships. 20%.
That's crazy.
So let's get it done.
It's time to get out of here. I got some honey to-do list shit I got to do before the old lady come home at 5 o'clock. So I got to go. So we out. You have a good rest of your day, Chris, and have a good, safe work week, man.
You too, man. Work on that journalist degree.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on my journalist. I'm gonna get it from ICDC College. That's
there you go.
My journalist degree, or maybe Schreier.
There you go.
All right, I'm out.
All right, man.